Hey guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guide. Thanks very much for joining me today. As you can see, I've got a review of the Bruynzeel Design Pastel Pencils. Now, if you cast your mind back, it's quite a while ago now. I've done a review of the Bruynzeel Design Coloured Pencils. Now, their design range is aimed at their, I suppose it's like their top of the line range. It's more aimed at their professional artists. Within that design range, they have obviously the colored pencils, the pastel pencils. They also have a watercolor pencil set. They also have a graphite set, and then they've got what they call a sketch set. Now, the sketch set is kind of like a mixture of various graphite pencils and then a couple of pastel pencils put into that as well. Kind of like your traditional type colors, like sanguine, kind of earthy tones, maybe a white charcoal pencil as well, that type of thing. But when I done the review of the Bruynzeel Design Coloured Pencils, I was really impressed with them. I enjoyed them, and I enjoyed using them as well. So when I purchased this set, I was kind of expecting the same type of quality as the colour pencils. So let's get into the review. We'll take a look at them, and we'll just take it from there. So, unfortunately, I was only able to afford the 24 set. They do come in a 12 set and a 48 set. Same with the colour pencils and the watercolour pencils. The 48 set is like the top of it's their biggest set, which is a little bit disappointing, because with such nice quality pencils, being a colour pencil artist, it's always nicer to have those larger sets available, like the 120 or at the very least the 72. But 48 is all they do. As with the coloured pencils that I showed, that I reviewed, they come in this kind of like this drawer packaging. So the box that you purchase is your storage unit as well. So now, I said this with the coloured pencils, and I'm going to say it again here. They obviously factor in, when they're factoring in the price of the product and stuff like that, they obviously factor in that this is a really sturdy storage capacity. And if we just take off the little slip there, I'll come back to that slip in a second. You can see that. Just let me zoom out slightly there. You can see here that it's got this nice little silver logo here on the side. It just says Bruynzeel Design. On where the drawers are, they've got these like little ribbon tags, and you just pull the drawer out, just as you would. The pencils themselves are well placed in there. They have this like foam that the pencils lay into, so the pencils are well protected, both in shipping and if you have them out on your desk. So as with the watercolor set and the colored pencils and this pastel pencil set as well, when they're all stacked on top of each other, they do look like a really professional storage system. I'm not too sure what they're made of. It's probably just hard cardboard, maybe a little bit of plywood. Not too sure, but it is sturdy. Whatever it's made of, it's really quite sturdy. So I'm guessing that they're going to factor that into the price. So unfortunately, there are no other alternatives. It's not like they sell a tin and you get the tin a little bit cheaper. You just get what you get. As I said, the pencils themselves are well secure inside these boxes for transportation, or just sat on your desk. It makes the selection of the pencils easier as well. Just let me take them out. So you can see there with the foam in here that the pencils are rested well neatly into the foam casing. The images that you can see now coming up on the screen are the two boxes that I have here in the 24 set. Like I say, there is a 48 set, and I kind of wish that I had got the 48 set, because I would have been able to do slightly better artwork than what I have done with this set. The 24 set is really quite limited. So I was quite limited to what type of art I was going to be able to do, whether it was botanical or like birds or something like that. But within this 24 set, you're really quite limited to the browns that you have and also the greys. With regards to pinks and things like that, for the if you were going to do like flowers or botanical or anything like that, you really are quite limited. So if at the end of this video you think that these pastel pencils might be for you, I would strongly suggest that you try and get the 48 set rather than the 24 or the 12. I mean, like the 12 set would be okay if you've never got into pastels before and you want to try and, you know, just dip your feet into it gently. The 12 set will be okay, but I wouldn't expect too much in terms of what you're able to produce with the 12 set. Obviously, pastel pencils, you can mix them slightly easier than what you can do with colored pencils, but if you're already a pastel artist, I would strongly suggest the 48 set. So this slip that comes on the side of them just keeps the drawers and stuff like that in place. On the back of it here, there is a little color chart, and on the color chart it lets you know the color names. Now, if we actually take a look at the pencils themselves, so if you take a look here, the core is a 3.8mm core and the barrel is an 8mm barrel, so it's quite average size pencil. Along the barrel here we have the company name and obviously the type of pencil it is. So it's Bruynzeel and their design range 8840. Then along here, all these pencils are the same. So if you were to have them all lined up, so you've got this wood casing, then they have this this lighter area, and on these ones it says pastel. On the Aquarelle ones it says Aquarelle, and on the color pencils it just says color. Further on, you have a pigment identifier here on the very end. Now, there is a number on here, but that's all there is. There's no pigment name or anything like that. If you need to know the pigment name or you want to know it for whenever you're swatching and things like that, you've got to correspond the number with the swatch that's on the back of this slip here. Now, if you're going to be doing swatching in any case, that's what you would ordinarily do. You'd either look at the website or you'd try and tally up the numbers, or just use the numbers, whatever is easier for you. On the opposite side here of the barrel, it says Holland. It's a Dutch company. So, okay, so the artwork that I've done for this was done on the Lux archival paper that Aliona Nicholson's brought out. I have a review of that paper if you want to take a look at it, but that's what the artwork was done on. But for this review, I'm going to test this on some UArt sanded paper. This is the 280, so it's quite coarse, and I'm also going to use it do some testing on some pastel matte as well. This is dark pastel matte. They're three completely different papers. I'll probably do a more in-depth review of these types of papers later on, but for now I'm just going to do these different tests on here so that you get an idea. If you use UArt, then you'll see what the pastel pencils look like, or if you use pastel matte, then you'll get the gist of it as well. What I will say about this kind of like doing this review and testing these pencils is I done a review of this Caran d'Ache pencil sharpener a while ago, and I had kind of like mixed feelings about it, but I did say that it was primarily for pastel pencils. One of the biggest problems with all pastel pencils is sharpening them. Any pastel pencil artist will tell you that, you know, some sharpeners will work on some pastel pencils and others just won't. It really all just depends on the sharpener, the pastel pencil, and all the rest of it. The hand crank sharpeners that I have work on some pastel pencils but not on others. But this little device here works really, really well, and it worked so well with these pencils as well. Okay, so obviously sharpening is the biggest problem with pastel pencils, but I'm going to show you some blending that you can do with these. Yeah, it's just for me, actually. So if I take this blue, and you can see there, this is quite coarse paper, but you can see there that the pigment from these pencils is really, really bright and vibrant. So you take the blue, and then you would take something like a yellow to give you a green. And then mix that in.
Can you not use like a brush or something?
So there you go. So that's your pigment that you would get when you're mixing your pastel pencils. Obviously, if you need a darker green or something like that, you would put a darker blue in there. And that's where the difference between pastel pencils and coloured pencils comes in, that you do have a little bit more scope to mix and blend your colours. So with a 24 set, you would have a slightly better mixing ability. But if we take a look here at the vibrancy of the pigment, so there's the green there. Obviously it is a pastel pencil, and I am on coarse paper, so there's going to be a lot of dust, but you just use the dust to your advantage. This is the lemon yellow. I do have a swatch. It'll come up on the screen now. You'll be able to see all the different colours that are in the 24 set, and I'll also have an image coming up on the screen that will show you the full range of 48 pencils that's in the set. I'll just zoom in just a second. I think the vibrancy of the pigments is actually what held me back a little bit whenever I was trying to pick out some sort of artwork to do with these. They're not very muted in the 24 set, and you can see there how dark the black is. A lot of blacks have kind of like a grey charcoaly tinge to them, but this is a really strong black pigment, which is always a good sign of a good quality product when the black is really pure black, because the black pigments are one of the most expensive to come by. So if we take a look at these pigments on this black pastel matte paper, hopefully this will give you an even better indication as to the brightness and the vibrancy of the pigments. You can see there that there's quite a lot of opaqueness to these pigments, and I know some artists like to have a little bit of opacity to their pigments whenever it comes down to it, but with this Bruynzeel set, if you're looking for opaque pigments, you'll do really well with this particular set. The core of these are very soft. Ordinarily, pastel pencils have traditionally a much harder core than, say, like pastel blocks or pastel cylinders that you would get from handmade companies like Unison or someone like that. But for some reason, the core of these pencils is actually probably one of the softer cores that I've used whenever it comes to pastel pencils. I will do a comparison video of a few different pastel pencils, and I'll be able to explain it better in that video. But of all the pastel pencils that I've reviewed on this channel, in any case, these are definitely by far the softer of the cores that I've used. You can see here the white pigment there on the dark pastel matte, and it's come up really well. And like I said, you can see there the opaqueness in the pigments that I've just laid there. Okay guys, that's my review here of the Bruynzeel Design Pastel Pencils. Don't forget, go across to the written review, and on the written review I will have prices and things like that of the sets that are available. The reason I do that, just for anybody that's new to the channel, it's easier for me to update the prices on a written review than it is on a video review. Once I mention prices on my videos. A year from now, the prices are going to be different, and I can't amend that. Whereas on my written reviews, I can change the prices as and when they change. There'll also be links to Bruynzeel's website, or Royal Talon's website, whatever you want to refer to them as. But I'll have links. You can go across, you can take a look at the writing and the information that they have up on their design range in total. I'll also have a link down below to my review of the Bruynzeel Design Coloured Pencils, just in case you didn't get to see that and you might want to try and compare that video to this one. But I would say overall, with regards to these pastel pencils, they're definitely the softest cores that I've reviewed so far of pastel pencils, and I've reviewed quite a lot of pastel pencils. I do like the way that the pencils come in these little drawer systems. Even if you get the 12 set, it's kind of like just one little drawer. Obviously the 48 set has got 4 drawers in it. You will see that on my my other review of the Bruynzeel Design Coloured Pencils, because I got the 48 set for them. I have the 48 set of the watercolour pencils as well. But overall, it's a really nice touch. And I have to be honest with you, if they are going to factor that into the pricing, well, then they're not charging an awful lot for the actual packaging, because the price of these pastel pencils is relatively low in comparison to a lot of pastel pencils in their kind of like range. Now, in terms of Lightfastness, I found throughout the internet different people talking about their Lightfastness and what have you. Like, if they're being advertised in shops, in stores and stuff like that, they're referred to as Lightfast pastel pencils. But I can't tell you that, because there's no official chart from Bruynzeel. Now, there's other people who have done their own Lightfast tests, but they're not official tests. So I'm not going to talk about anything that's not official, because if it's done by somebody else, there's many different factors that will come into play as to the reason why it may not be. That's why companies pay a lot of money to get them Lightfast tested, because they're done in a factory conditions, they're done under strict guidelines. Whereas when people do their own Lightfast tests, as good as they are, and that they give you a really good indication of how the pencils are going to fare in terms of Lightfastness, they're not officially done. So, but as this is a review channel, I can only talk about official information regarding the pencils. It's entirely up to you whether you take into consideration the individual Lightfast tests that are done on these pencils. But I personally couldn't find anything from Bruynzeel. Now, I had this same problem with their pencils, and I wrote to them. I sent them an email asking them about Lightfast information, and they just came back with the same thing, that they are Lightfast, but there's no star system or no number system or anything like that that I have been given so far. So you'd need to take into that what you may. Overall, I really enjoyed using the pencils. I just wish, like I said at the very beginning of this video, that I got the 48 set. I would strongly suggest, if you are really considering getting a set of pastel pencils and you like the review that I've done on these, go for the 48 set if you can. If you can afford it, definitely go for the 48 set. You won't be let down. You're obviously going to have a lot more colours, but the colours in the 48 set, there's a lot more muted colours I found, judging by the swatch on the back of this, and judging by other people's swatches that they've put up online as well. And you are going to need a few of those muted colours, because as you've seen on the tests that I done, they really are quite bright and vibrant, the pigments. Anyway, guys, that's it. Thanks very much for watching this review. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye.